Street Champs, come get put on. Today I'm in here with a very special guest, Tim Trujillo, the MC of Pueblo Has Talent that just recently happened. Tim, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. It's nice to have a break today after the long 3 weeks of the Pueblo Has Talent.
I bet that's a demanding job for you. You have to be there all the time.
Yeah, so the open auditions are like 8 hours. We started about 9 o'clock in the morning. We see open auditions until about 6 o'clock that evening.
Oh, wow.
And then we go from there to the top 50 at Memorial Hall. I think that was probably a 4.5 hour show, 5 hour show this year. And then the top 25 yesterday.
Wow. And you have to be there for every single act?
I like to be there for every single act. So, like, the open auditions are my favorite part. Like, everybody has a reason, right? Like, I try to find that out when I meet the people that are coming up to audition is what's your reason for being here? And so I cry a few times that day with people because sometimes it's like people they're singing for their dad who passed away, or their mom always wanted them to get up on stage. And some of these folks have never been up on a stage before. And I mean, you're in the middle of Pueblo Mall, you're vulnerable, everybody's watching, your friends are there, strangers are walking by. So to me, that's my favorite part. Once we get to Memorial Hall, it's a show. But when we're in the mall and we're doing those open auditions, we saw like 90 people this year. I get to be kind of personal with those folks, and I start to root for them, and so that makes it fun the rest of the way.
Mm-hmm. Kind of seeing the numbers get weeded out. Is that kind of like an emotional thing to have to deliver those no's?
So I don't have to do that. So Jesse Senna puts on the show. He makes the calls after the open auditions. He makes the calls to the top 50, and then he makes the calls the next day to the top 25. So I don't like a whole lot of responsibility. I show up, I run the show, I leave, and then I try not to think about it. And one thing, I don't want to be a part of the scoring. I don't want to be a part of who's being selected because I want to root for you. You know what I mean? I want to be in your corner. I want to try to give you a little bit of advice. So I don't have anything to do with how that scoring goes and how those judges do their job.
Mm-hmm. Not having the responsibility, but you're kind of the face of the whole thing. When people think the show, they see you for 90% of the whole show.
Yeah, it is. And that is, there is a lot of responsibility there. And my job there is just to keep the show going, keep people entertained, keep them in their seats. We're there for a long time. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to hold people's attention for 5 hours, especially when you're sitting in seats in Memorial Hall. It's dark. Mm-hmm. You're eating popcorn and drinking soda pop, and you got to pay attention to me for 6 hours. I can't imagine what those poor people go through.
That's hilarious. All right, before we get into all what you're doing right now, I want to take a step back into who you are and where you came from. How old are you?
So I'm 46 years old. I grew up on the east side. I was kind of a naughty kid growing up.
Really?
So growing up, all I ever wanted to be was a firefighter. Like, since I was a little kid, and I know a lot of people say that, but that was my dream. But I was the same kid you see on the stage that doesn't stop talking is the same kid that was in the classroom that wouldn't stop talking. And so it was hard for me to do good in school. And then we were naughty kids. The first time I ever got arrested was in the 6th grade for stealing bikes. Like, they came and got me out of school and
oh, wow,
took me down to where Bruce Ale House is now, went up in the elevator and got interrogated, and my mom and dad had to come and get me. And so I was kind of that naughty kid. I didn't know what direction to go, right? Everybody in my neighborhood was doing the same thing. Everybody did dirt. It's just what we did. Mm-hmm. Fighting, hanging out in the park, playing basketball, stealing bikes, whatever it was. And then even as an adult, I had a bunch of different jobs. We laugh at work now that it took me 12 years to get on the fire department. I first applied when I was 19 years old. I didn't get hired until I was 32.
Wow.
But I was on home arrest or probation or in trouble with the law. And so I didn't know what to do exactly. And then I met an adult mentor. I started to work for somebody who kind of took a chance on me and who cared. And I'd never had that before, right? Someone who was successful, who was able to tell me to get away. His name was Ted Hernandez from Spectrum Community Services. So my first job, that wasn't just labor. I worked at the mill. I was a union guy at the mill, and I carried drywall and roofing. And I did those dirty jobs that nobody wanted to do because it was just easy, like we talked about earlier. I didn't want no responsibility. I wanted to just live my life, drink beer, fight on the weekends, and go to work, maybe put some money in the bank and not go to work for a month and just hang out and do hood stuff. But then when I met...
You have any gang?
Every people down there were affiliated. Your block is your block, you know what I mean? And to us, even back then, one of the most, I guess, one of the full circle things that happened was like I graduated in 1994 from East, and we set the record in the state for murders. Denver set the record in the state for murders that year. And so when I came back to Pueblo and I got on the fire department, I had the opportunity to sit on House Bill 94, which was named after 1994, and that was juvenile crime prevention group. And so I got to help as a community member steer how we were dealing with youth in the community and how we were dealing with youth that were committing crimes in the community. So we discussed everything from like not having so many random drug tests, right? Like kids are using marijuana to take care of themselves, you know, and we're taking that away. And so now they don't have those other options or resources, and they're getting in trouble for it, you know? And so I had at least had the opportunity to be a part of that. I sat on that commission for a few years. But I worked with adults with developmental disabilities. That was like the job that changed me. It made me humble. Those people loved unconditionally. And I was angry unconditionally and for no reason, right? And so once you meet somebody that's happy for no reason, those folks with Down syndrome, like happy every day.
What age was this when you got that job?
I was about 21 when I got into that field, and that kind of changed me. And then at 24, I met Ted Hernandez from Spectrum, and he offered me a job in La Junta. They had a volunteer fire department. He was like, go get away. I moved to La Junta. I thrived. I got on their fire department. I had a job. I went from like the mill here being dirty every day to wearing suits and going to work. And I had a secretary all of a sudden. And I was in charge of payroll and making sure people got their paychecks and going out and taking care of these adults with developmental disabilities. And so I went from not wanting any responsibility whatsoever to like all the responsibility in the world, right? Especially for a kid like me who never really graduated high school. I had 0.0 GPA. My mom still has the report card when I was like a senior in high school. I got all my credits at summer school at Central. Like I was not on the right path. And so when I got to La Junta, I got to meet some people who had no reason to take me in, but that was the most amazing community I could have ever gone to. The folks out there were just cool people. And so I got to be on the fire department out there for 5.5 years. Grew up a little bit, met my ex-wife, my daughter. And then we moved back to Pueblo, and I got on the fire department here in 2009. So I've been on the fire department here for 15 years.
Wow. All right. So I want to keep going back to a little bit younger. Growing up instead, you said you got arrested at sixth grade. When was the last time you were arrested?
Oh, shoot. I moved to La Junta when I was 24. This was like 2002, actually. And the weekend I moved down there, everything I had was in my truck. Like I lived out of my truck. Oh, wow. I took everything with me that was value to me was under a cab on my truck. And then one night we're out. The next weekend we come back to Pueblo. We're doing some hood stuff. I miss a turn, driving too fast, drive through a guy's porch.
Oh, wow.
Ditch my car, run. Got to go and talk to the police on Sunday to get my truck back. We worked on my truck all day Sunday, and I drove back to La Junta Monday morning back to my job that I'd only been on for a week. And I didn't come home for a little bit after that. So
what's hood stuff?
Like we like to fight and do the things that kids did back then, things that kids are doing now. And so
graffiti, stuff like that, or was that?
No, it was a little bit deeper than that.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. But
like you were like selling stuff on the block or what?
No, I never sold drugs. No, that's why I didn't do drugs, because I saw the people that did sell drugs, and those guys, it was always hard for them. You know what I mean? Like the people who were doing it and the people who were selling it, those folks had hard lives, man. And I didn't want to have that hard a life. Like I might take some wheels or car stereo or something like that. But yeah, we didn't want to. I personally didn't want to have that kind of a life, because I grew up in it. Like I saw it with some family. I had like two different sides. One side of my family was into those kind of things, and then we have a little place in New Mexico where the other side of the family was like real quiet and mellow, and that was kind of the life that I wanted to live. I wasn't always like this outgoing and talkative. I was kind of shy and reserved. But then when you're forced to talk to people, it kind of started to come easy to me. And maybe I just had a whole bunch of stuff to say.
Mm-hmm. Like when did you kind of notice your personality changing?
I think I've always been funny, and I've always kind of enjoyed myself. So like I said, when I was a little kid, I was loud and talked a lot in school and was always in trouble. And then I went through that teenage years like a lot of kids do and got real quiet and reserved and had big acne. So I didn't talk to girls. I was
really?
awkward. You know what I mean? So fighting was just easier. It was a lot easier to fight than talk to people. And especially when you're like that age and you can't talk to girls, you got a problem, you know, and I did anyway. It made me angry. And so that's how I dealt with it.
Wow.
Started drinking early and.
What age?
Oh, geez. Probably 14.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like heavy drinking at 14. And so that led to a lot of problems. Like I had more underage drinking tickets than I had years on this planet. And so like it was a joke after a while because none of it made any difference, right? They were killing kids around us and people were getting in trouble around us. And like, I don't think we ever thought that we would make it out of there, you know? And so, but the guys that did, man, are super successful and at least family men doing good things. And so you can get out, right? And so when I did get back to Pueblo, and I got on the fire department, I started a kids program. And so we do some mentoring with kids. We talk to kids about just like the path, being nice, being kind, being respectful, helping each other out, and those things that are hopefully going to make a difference in their lives. A little bit of fitness mixed in there. So it's been good.
I think that's a thought that probably a lot of people, not just on the east side, but like around Pueblo, feel like trapped. Like, man, this city it has a bad reputation. Maybe for the people that you associate with, they kind of steer you in that way. But yeah, I don't think you're alone when you say, man, I feel so trapped, or I was so trapped here.
Yeah, and that's not that's not true though, right? Like once you get out of it and you realize that you guys are doing that, you guys are making a difference, you know, and you see in the positive side of it. We could live in those dark spaces, but we don't have to. We don't have to thrive in those dark spaces. There's plenty of opportunity here. We know it. The art, just like Pueblo has talent, the music, the coffee, right? Like everything here is better because of our youth, and they're not feeling as trapped as maybe they did. There are still those pockets of kids who live in bad environments, and it's hard to get to them, right, sometimes. But those of us that are seeing the positive side, we can have that reach, mentor somebody. I say that all the time. Like, take someone under your wing and make a difference in their life. It made a difference for me to find an adult mentor. Like, that totally changed and probably saved my life.
Wow. Where's your mentor today?
I hope he's retired on a beach somewhere, but I know his business is still on the south side. He supports local sports. Like, his name's all over Dutch Clark Stadium. He's still out there doing his thing, and he's, like I say, it's good people, right? It was somebody that took a chance, and that's the best thing we could do is change one life. And so I started a program called Fire Fit Kids with the fire department about 8 years ago. We bring those kids into a fire station once a month. They get to visit the station. We do a little obstacle course so they get their exercise. Then they get to meet the people that live and work in their neighborhood. And so I tell the story that, like, when I was young, I'd ride my bike to the fire station on the east side, pull around the corner, flatten my tire, go ring the doorbell, ask them if I could use the pump just so I could see the trucks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so, like, that's what I did. And so once I got the opportunity to come back here and kind of make that open, we go to a different fire station every month. So even if you have problems accessing transportation, at some point throughout the year, we're going to be in your neighborhood. You know, your family could walk over and do a fire station tour, meet the people that work there. And my hope and my goal with that was, like, to create that safe haven so that, you know, if you want to ring that doorbell, we don't close. We're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right? If you need to ring that doorbell because you're in crisis or you're having a bad day or you're being bullied or you're running from trouble, ring that doorbell. There should be always someone there to answer that door. And to me, that was something like you said, when you're hopeless in the dark, you don't see those opportunities. And so we wanted to make that and bring that out into the light. And it's been a really cool program. So the kids that were 10 then are 17 now, and maybe they'll be on our job in the next 2 years, you know, and that would be pretty cool to me when we hire our first Fire Fit kid.
Wow. Yeah, that's going to be totally full circle. How many fire departments or how many fire stations are in Pueblo?
So there's 10 stations in the city of Pueblo. We have one out at the airport, and then the other 9 are in the city. So our coverage area is pretty good. We just got funding to open an 11th station on the west side. It's going to go up there by the new jail off of 24th Street.
Oh, wow.
And that's going to be a pretty cool opportunity too. So we'll hire more firefighters for that. We're going to bring in another big ladder truck, which is what I'm on. And so that's going to expand our service to the city.
Mm-hmm. Is there any, like, unspoken, like, I don't know, tension between police officers and firefighters in Pueblo?
You know what? We get along pretty good.
Really?
And I think, like I said, coming from being that bad kid, like, our police officers now for the most part, are good dudes, man. I've seen them go out of their way to work with people, to help people, to buy kids bikes, to sit even on the curb and just talk to somebody having a bad day instead of taking them to jail. I have nothing but respect for those guys. Like, I've been on this job for 15 years, and I can't remember one time where I've been there and thought that they were doing something inappropriate. They're always stepping up, and they are like, they motivate me to be better because we're in that position where everybody trusts us. Most of the time, everybody likes us. And those guys are out there doing a whole bunch of stuff, man, to make this community better. And so to me...
and everybody hates them for some reason.
You know what? And it's just that stigma. Like, that's the world that we live in, you know? And don't judge me until you know me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Don't judge me until you met me, until we've had a conversation. You can't judge these folks. And hopefully the conversation you have isn't on the side of the road because you've been speeding or whatever. That's always going to be negative, you know? But they're doing their job, and that's what they're there to do. And so... I've had nothing but great interactions with them from their police chief on down. So it's been pretty cool.
All right. So going back on the timeline of things, you graduate high school, you said 94?
Yeah.
94. You don't go to college. You don't go to college. Was that even like a thought?
I signed up for every branch of the military except for the Navy because I can't swim, and got thrown out of each one before I ever got to leave. And so that was
Why'd you get thrown out?
Because I couldn't stop getting in trouble.
Oh, really?
You know, they don't want kids with tickets, and you can't have no pending cases, or you can't be on probation or community service. And so that really was like my first part of getting into the community and working with youth. It was easy to just get arrested, go pay your fine, you know, sell some red cups from a keg, catch some money, go pay your fine, and then go volunteer and coach Little League sports. And so that was my community service. So I was coaching kids in the community because the judge ordered me to, you know, and then that carried on to adulthood. I coached kids here for a long time. I coached a little bit in Lahana when I was out there. I coached a little bit when I came back, but parents are different. I like kids, man. Parents are tough when it comes to youth sports. So,
yeah, I see those signs all around Runyon. It's like, this is a game.
Yeah, you're as a parent, you can't want it more than the kids.
Yeah.
And we see that a lot, but we have good sports here. You know what I mean? Pueblo's a tough town. So,
you have any kids?
I do. I have a 21-year-old daughter. She's a softball player at CSU Pueblo. She's a pitcher, pretty amazing little girl. Young woman. She's not a little girl anymore. And then a 12-year-old son. He'll be 13 coming up, and he's a little cowboy out at Vineland Middle School.
Really? That's where I went to middle school, actually.
Yeah, he loves it out there.
Really?
He loves it out there. He's thriving out there in that ag program and gets to wear his boots and his jeans to school, and that kid's happy as can be.
That's hilarious. Man, all right. You single now?
I am.
You single right now? That's cool. Why? I feel like an eligible bachelor like you, name popular around town. I feel like you meet a lot of nice women.
I don't meet as many people as you would think. Like really? When you're up, especially when you're up on that stage, you don't even see, that when you're up there, you don't even see the people in that crowd. And then, like I say, I don't want to be a part of most of the other the circumstance of it. I show up, I leave, and that's it, but on the other side of it, like, I like my freedom, man. I got a little place in New Mexico. I like to pick up and go when I want to go, and I want to get my golf clubs and go play golf when I want to go play golf. And I kind of enjoy that part of it. There's something to be said about having a little bit of freedom.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
My son says we're like two college kids that have our own house. Like we got a mini putt in our basement. We got a theater down there. We just we're kind of doing our own thing over there on Eilers Avenue.
Yeah, that sounds ideal for a lot of probably for a lot of people. A lot of people are probably like, oh, I need my significant other, but I'm kind of in your boat. I like my freedom. I like to just not talk to anyone for days at a time or hang out with whoever I want.
Exactly. When you got good friends, like you got a good group of friends, right? Like it does get lonely sometimes, but like I never feel alone. You know what I mean? You can pick up the phone, call your buddies, call your friends, go have dinner, go have a drink, whatever it is. But yeah, I mean, every once in a while you wish there was somebody else there.
Mm-hmm. Man, now I'm sad.
It happens, bro. And it comes and goes, right? Happiness comes and goes. You just got to wait for those good times to come back around again.
That's fair. All right, so back on the timeline of things. When did you first host Pueblo Has Talent?
That's messing me up. So COVID messed up everything, right? Especially timelines. So I believe I hosted 2 years before COVID, and I want to say I hosted 2 years post COVID.
So 2018.
Yeah, I think that would have been about it. I was a judge the first year, and
really?
I have no talent, bro. No artistic ability, no music ability. I can't dance. I got nothing to offer, and I felt bad about sitting up there judging all of these amazing people. So I went to Jesse, and I was like, I can't be a judge. Like, whatever you want to call it. Like, I can't sit here and tell those people they're not good enough to go on when I can't do any of the things that they're doing. And so he was like, you should just be the host. So that's how that turned out. And then prior to that, I was just asked to do some other events. Like, I have no experience in hosting anything. Like, really? I didn't go to college for it. Had never done it before. I just, one day, somebody, I think it was even for like Catholic Charities, was doing like a Christmas fun run or something. And they were like, Tim, will you come and just be like the MC for it? Because you say you get away with things that most other people don't get away with. And so I was like, sure, I'll come out and yell at people. So I go out there and yell at people, and that kind of had just snowballed from there. So like now I do Pueblo Has Talent. I MC Dancing with the Pueblo Stars, and I did that. I danced in that first, and then I've been the MC. I MC'd it last year. I'll MC it again this year. I'm going to do 40 Under 40 for the Latino Chamber of Commerce this year. I MC our firefighter ball now. And so it is just a matter of, I just want to get up there and be myself, right? I'm still this cholo dude from the east side. You're probably going to hear orale more than you expect it to. When I did the firefighter ball, the DJ was like, I never thought that somebody would request SPM at the firefighter ball, especially the dude that was running the show. So that's where we went from there. And Pueblo Has Talent's been a good time.
Yeah, that's a constant. I mean, you said what, 4 to 5 events. So if you break them up by months, you're doing something every 3-4 months.
Oh yeah, dude. I never thought I would have this many ties or suits.
Yeah, you
know what I mean. Like, just trying to keep it fresh has been something. So if anybody wants to be a sponsor for my fit, we'll take that too. But yeah, it's hard to like get out there and try to be fresh every time, right? Not tell the same joke over and over, or do the same thing, because everybody expects something different. Pueblo Has Talent is kind of, I get to run the show when I'm up on the stage, because it is just chaos. There's no script. There's no, we're not fundraising for anything. There's not a board of directors that wants their message out there. So it is just me up there winging it, trying to make it comfortable for everybody. But then you do something like Dancing with the Pueblo Stars. All that money goes to PDI, which works with adults with developmental disabilities too. And that's one of the most amazing places in town. And so when I'm up on the stage for them, it is about that fundraising side. It is about that messaging side. And so it's a little bit more scripted. I've done some stuff for the United Way where they're really, really good at giving me the script, and I'm really, really bad at looking at the script. And we kind of just make things, work that way. I got to work with the gentleman that won America Has Talent when he was in town for the United Way.
What's his name?
Oh gosh, you're gonna put me
there's
on
like
the
40
spot.
There's like 40 seasons.
He was the poet. I know. He just won it, and he came back for like the All-Star.
Really?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I know, everybody loved him. He was super inspirational. Everybody was crying, and I was just trying to read my script to get through it. But I got to do that. So like, those are cool opportunities. My kids got to meet him. My mom got to meet him. So
it sounds like maybe like a way to boil it down to a few words. Sounds like a fun life. I guess sounds like you you had your missteps, but you ended up in a great place.
It makes you more appreciative, right? Like, I appreciate everything that I have, because I shouldn't have anything. So I'm appreciative of every day. I'm appreciative of every friend. And it is like, I get to choose happiness every day, right? I could go outside and bitch and moan about the weather, or I could just enjoy it. And that's kind of the life that I try to live, and what I try to share with my friends. Is like, my group of friends, dude, can I cuss?
Say what the fuck you want. Can I smoke weed?
Yeah, go ahead. It's the fuck yeah energy, right? Like, we have that energy. Like, do you want to go do something? Fuck yeah. If you don't have that energy, it ain't your day. We could go do something else. But like, it's always that good energy. Like, we do the coolest things, man. And it's because we say yes first. Like, Lindsay Reeves is one of my best friends, and she's all over this community doing great things. And she'll tell you, like, we say yes first, and then we figure it out. And that's a pretty cool way to live your life.
What does Lindsay Reeves do for the community?
She works for the state right now, but she's been a part of nonprofits and grant writing and a bunch of other things.
Take a drink if you want.
A bunch of other things here. So I have a really amazing circle of friends that put this community at the top of our priority list. And like I said, and just getting to watch you guys come up and grow has been one of the coolest things for us, because we're kind of like middle of the road, right? I'm almost 50 years old, man.
I mean, I feel like, as a youth, I'm 26. I just turned 26 last Thursday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. So like youth might be kind of wasted on me. I'm kind of like a young adult, like you said your daughter was. Like, I don't know if I'm trying my best to stay on top of what's happening, in like pop culture, music, my community surrounding, the area I live. But at some points, you kind of get away from it. But in your community group that you've kind of made for yourself, do you feel like there's like any like secret competition between like any of these like local leaders, that anyone is just kind of self
like in it
motivated?
for themselves?
Yeah, exactly.
I think you see that. I think that's pretty it's pretty transparent. Like, we know the people. Everybody, as soon as I heard you say that, thought about somebody, right? I thought about a couple of people. I'm not going to say them out loud, but
you know who you are.
I know we know who you are, and we know what you're doing, right? And there is that self-serving side of it, and sometimes that self-serving side of it serves the community, because you have to be a champion, right? They tease me all the time at work because I say, like, you have to have a champion for something to be successful. You have to be the champion for this podcast for it to be successful, right? We're in your space. This is your equipment. This is your time. This is your place. You're paying the bills on this thing. You're the champion for this. If you were to walk away from this, would it still stand? And so it's not necessarily self-serving, but you're the person who wants this more than anyone else. And so, but it serves a higher purpose. It serves another group. And so in a way, it's okay to be a little self-serving,
It's a good point.
But you have to still be able to build those relationships. You still have to be able to build that trust. You still have to have that cohesiveness. And at some point, we're going to disagree. And how are we going to handle that disagreement, right? Are we going to be adults about it? Can we give and take a little bit? Or are we just going to break off because neither one of us can? That's the whole United States right now, right?
Totally.
We're not giving an inch. And there's a whole bunch of people in the middle that are missing out, And so being able to put your ego aside, create good relationships that are solid, that we know that we can trust each other and we're going to do the right thing for whatever it is that we're working on, I think is the important part.
What about like haters? You got any haters that just kind of...
Oh, I don't think I got any haters.
No?
They might be out there, but they're little secret haters.
Really?
Yeah, no, I don't think there are any out there, though. I try to be kind. You know what I mean? Like, kindness and compassion are important to me, and like treating everyone nice. Obviously, there's going to be people that don't like you for whatever reason or whatever, but I don't think that that's the case. And if there is, I'm not putting any energy to it. You know what I mean? I don't give any energy out to anything that doesn't serve me back, in a positive way.
Yeah, as you shouldn't.
Yeah, I could get halfway through a news article, man, and if it's too negative for me, I could walk away from it, right? Because I don't want to carry that with me for the rest of the day. The reality is out there, but we don't have to focus on it.
Yeah, that's a positive outlook, man. I wish everyone had that outlook, because that's a rare thing. Just to be able to live in that mindset is totally rare.
Look at Mike Tyson. Like, what do you want to be angry for? You know what I mean? Like, he'll tell you, like, there was this angry side of me that lives in that cave, and you don't want to. You don't have to bring it back out. We could go on with the rest of our lives and never have to look back on that. We don't ever have to, like you say, focus on the negative side of it. Sure, there's bad things going on. Poverty is an issue. Homelessness is an issue. Housing is an issue, right? We could work on the positive sides of that, but if we focus on the negative side, we're never going to come up with good solutions, right? You're going to be dealing with that too coming up. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to have to deal with all of those issues, and there's going to be a lot of negativity and haters, and there's going to be things that you don't always understand, but trust the people that do understand those things. You know what I mean? And listen to those folks. Like, I think sometimes we get to the point where we want to be the one in charge and we want to be the leader of this group, but you're surrounded by people that are all good at something, and trust those people for what they have and what they can offer you, especially if you're going to be running this city. You know, bring in the smartest people and then listen to them.
Definitely. Yeah. When I run this city, I will bring on the smartest people I can around me, and we will change Pueblo, because right now it's a mess.
It's got a lot of potential.
It does.
We're working on it.
That's just kind of my slogan. Pueblo,
yeah,
it's a mess.
Pueblo is a mess. Get that on that shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
But
City government though. Are you involved? Are you interested at all?
I'm not interested in being a part of city government. I'm interested in the people that run our city government.
Definitely.
I'm really interested in local government. I like the barbing. I like the little drama we get to watch on Monday night, right? I'll sit in my hot tub on Monday night with my computer plugged in and watch city council and drink a few beers and just try to soak up everything that's going on. You know what I mean? Like, nationally, a lot of that stuff doesn't affect us, right? If you don't watch the news, you don't know what's going on nationally. But this stuff that's happening small universe, like, we're running into these people at events. We're seeing them in the community. You know, we get to talk to them. We have access to them. And then we watch them go up there on that dais and they argue about things that we think are totally ridiculous, but or they're not doing things that we think we should, right? There is a bureaucracy to everything. There is red tape to everything. I can't just say that my road needs fixed and somebody's going to snap their fingers and come fix it. You know, there is always something bigger than that. But as far as local politics go, I love it. I love it.
What do you think of current mayor?
You know what? I think he was most definitely the right person for that job to be first. The legalities of it, I never thought he would even see that seat in that first year. I thought that we were going to be tied up in lawsuits for that first mayor and a bunch of stuff. And he's an attorney. He understands how the law works, and you listen to him talk, you know, and sometimes trying to explain those things. Not everybody gets it. It's a little bit over people's heads. And I think that maybe that makes people look at him differently. But when you're the first, you have to navigate all of those things, all of those legal battles, all of the stuff that no one's had to do before. You're setting that precedent. And I think he was the right person for that job, you know, especially at that time.
Yeah. He was the first mayor in what? It was 80 years, something like that?
Yeah, something like that. It was long enough to where...
Since he was a child, basically.
There was no book on that. Like, there was nothing that they could say, oh, the last person did this, or we got away with this before. Like, you're starting kind of over, you know, and I'm really glad that we get to keep that mayoral system. So had we gone back to city manager, I feel like we do take... They wanted to push that as... Pueblo doesn't have a choice, where if you're voting for a mayor every 4 years, we 100% have that choice to vote in and out the people that we think are doing the best job. And the mayor's my boss.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, I work for the fire department, so we're a city government, right?
That's true.
So it does make a difference. You do want the right person in that position because they are managing the budget. They're managing all of the things that happen in the city, you know, infrastructure, public safety, streets, all of that stuff. And so... I root for the mayor just like you should root for the president. It doesn't matter who it is. You want them to do the best job, because for me, working for the government, that 100% affects my life, you know, and my livelihood.
I think the separation comes from, you know, we haven't had a mayor in 80 years, but like, what's ironic is like the mayor is 70 years old. You know, there's a disconnect between the ages of the people leading and the people, you know, maybe just being unaware of how they're being led. Like, no one my age, no one in their, I would say 18 to 35 is, I would say a very small population is going to those Monday meetings or even watching them or even knows that they go on, you know, once every 2 Mondays or whatever it is. And just the age is the number one thing I think that just kind of separates people.
And I think we see it on that council, right? We have a younger group of people now on there. And an older group of people, and they sometimes agree, sometimes they don't. But at least now, it's not like before where they were all 70 years old on city council making those decisions, right? We have Heather and Sarah and Vicente. And so there is a little bit of a younger side to it, nothing against the other side. But they actually get to have those communications, those discussions. Some people already have their hay in the barn. They're looking at retirement. Some people aren't even looking at Pueblo, right? At even being here.
True.
And then there's these people, these young entrepreneurs, advocates, community folks that are in those ranks, and they're helping to guide how this city's going. And it takes time. You know, it's never going to be perfect, but I think what they're doing is the best they can do with what they got, right? There is a bureaucracy to everything. There is always going to be someone who doesn't agree, and we're going to have to deal with that, or they're going to have to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I win Pueblo mayor, I'm going to donate 3/4 of my yearly salary to school scholarships, local charities, the Casa charity. I want to do more. I want to be the first one to put my money where my mouth is. I don't want to be just some person making too much money that people think they're making too much money and they're not doing anything with it. You know
when you break it down by the hour,
mm-hmm.
I can't imagine. You see the mayor, city council doesn't even make that much money, and they have to
$700 a month,
and they're everywhere. Break that down by the hour. Even the mayor's pay, whatever he's at,
$150,000.
$150,000 for every hour he's at every event, every bike ride, every other thing. Like that probably breaks down to like $25 an hour at the end of the day, you know? Which is why I don't want any part of local politics. Mm-hmm. I like my time. I want to go to where I want to go. But
the Pueblo mayor, I mean, going to all those small events, like, do you need to go to those events? Is it just a safe face? Like, would your time be properly used somewhere else? Most likely.
They want to see you.
They do.
You're gonna learn that. You're gonna eat a lot of green chill. What is the Pueblo like? It's fried chicken, spaghetti,
sloppers,
green chili. No, just at like the convention center.
Oh,
you're gonna eat that mushroom chicken. Well, it's the same meal over and over and over again. All that buffet food. You're gonna be eating 5 nights a week. You know what I mean? And then you're going to be going to the luncheons, having that chicken again with that wild rice, you know, all them desserts. Mm-hmm. It's going to start adding up.
Yeah, I see your point, but...
I agree. Could you be in the office?
Doing different things.
Crunching numbers?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the hope is that they are doing that, right? And when you look at that position, there are people that he's hired under him to do a lot of those things. And so like it goes back to hiring the right people for the right positions and then managing those people, trusting the things that they're doing and listening to them. Mm-hmm. You know, Laura Solano is an amazing person. She's one of the smartest people I've ever met. She's doing a whole bunch of that stuff, I'm sure, and doesn't get to be the face out there, you know, like I said, eating at every single dinner that this community holds. That's got to be a little bit taxing. And like I say, it can't be an easy thing to do, especially going through COVID. Yeah. Holy cow. I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's an easy thing to do. I'm saying that there's a disconnect from the underrepresented people in Pueblo that just feel like they aren't being accounted for, that they don't care, that, you know, their vote doesn't matter. They don't have enough money. It's just like, how do we get those people involved rather than the people that are going to these every community event, that are going to eat the same stuff.
Exactly,
you know?
right. You can't, what you said, the underrepresented can't afford those $100 a meal plates, right? And like I joke all the time, like all these things that I do in the community, Pueblo has talent. Dancing with the Pueblo Stars. Actually, I forgot to say I did the Miss Pueblo pageant too the other day, but like those ones that charge tickets, like I work those events just so my mom could get a ticket to come and have dinner and to watch the show, right? Because my mom and dad can't afford to go to every dinner every night. Yeah. I can't afford to go to dinner every night, you know? And so, like you say, there is that part that's underrepresented. They're not at those places, at those fundraisers. They're not at those events because huge part of it. You know, we're filling that place with 500 people. This is a pretty big community. 500 people is a small representation of that. Mm-hmm. So I do get what you're saying there. And that is where you're going to have to get out and you're going to do those community meetings, right? The gatherings, the picnics, where they're going to get to come and talk to you, and then you have to
I feel like you'd be a good mayor.
Filter through all of that stuff.
You'd be a great city leader.
Oh, I'm too young.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a retirement job. Where do you go from being the mayor? You're going to think about this. You're 26. If you do 8 years, you're going to be 32 when you come out of there? Well, you'll probably be 33 by the time the election's over.
President.
They're going to be right there.
Governor, something.
Yeah, you got to keep moving up. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to get closer to the mountains. I ain't trying to get closer to the city of Denver, dude. I'm trying to get to where there's more trees than people. So
that's fair.
But yeah, what do you do after that? County commissioner seats, you know, and those are important seats to be in. And like I say, that getting younger people in there that have a different view of what's going on, that are hungry still. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I don't have all my money in my money market accounts and my Roth and my retirement, and I could leave this thing anytime I wanted and go disappear somewhere. Like the people that are hungry, that are coming up, that are going to be, that need this community to thrive for themselves and their families. And those are the people that are important. You're one of them people.
Wow. Thank you. Speaking of that, 40 under 40, how does that work?
So those are the top. I don't know. I wasn't this successful when I was less than 40. I was still trying to figure it out. And I'm not saying this is successful, but I wasn't in the mix when I was 39. So I've never even been to a 40 under 40. So I'm really excited about just getting in there and introducing these folks. But these are like the 40 top people in business and community in Pueblo that the Latino Chamber has identified. And so I'm sure that there's a nomination process, a vetting process. And then as far as I know, my job's going to be up there to introduce them, read their stories, and then let them all get together and gather, right? That's probably a good place to get a ticket to go hang out and meet some other young cats that are doing cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to go to that. I would love to. I'm going to try to be on there next year. I don't know what I have to do. I'm going to.
There you go.
Pay the Pueblo chieftain to write a good story about me this time, and I hope they'll make it on there.
Yeah, keep doing good things, right? And that's the other part of it is like these are the 40 people that have been identified. We imagine that there's so many other people out there doing good things, right? There's how many coaches are out there, teachers are out there doing good things, mentors that are out there doing good things. And so we're going to recognize that 40, but that doesn't mean that that's the only group of people that are out there doing amazing things in this community.
Yeah, it's a great point. I think when I envision 40 under 40, what the Forbes list has the 30 and 31.
Oh yeah,
I think so. I think I envision like the most successful entrepreneurs. Sadly, I don't really picture like, my cousin's 4th grade teacher, but they are doing a difference in the community. But I guess those just don't really align with like the already historical, like 30 under 30, 40 under 40.
Yeah, they're not millionaires. They're not getting paid what they're worth, our teachers, are they?
Yeah, no, exactly. I have a lot of teachers are involved here with the show, and they always tell me about it.
Yeah, that's a tough job, man. I couldn't imagine it. I go into the schools and I work with the kids, and I used to be like, sure, I'll come and take over gym class for the whole day. Dude, I would be so tired when I would get home, like completely exhausted. I don't know how our teachers do it day in and day out. And now, like, if I come to a school, like, 3 hours, that's the limit.
Really?
That's all I could do. Like, it's so much energy. And I try to match energy with the kids, and you put my 46-year-old ass up there and a bunch of 6-year-olds, they're going to run me down. I had, like, 50 preschoolers the other day.
Damn.
Yeah, just worn out. I was, like, done.
What were you doing? Just, like, making them run around, play games? Like,
our Fire Fit Kids program is like an obstacle course. So the kids pull a fire hose, they drag it, they crawl through a tunnel, which is like crawling low in smoke. We have some safety aspect to it. Stop, drop, and roll, and crawl low in smoke. Then they rescue a victim, carry some weights, and it's that cheering for each other, teamwork side of things that it is. And so I get them out there and I try to wear them out, and it doesn't. They're wearing me out.
Yeah, I feel like you would thrive with 18 to like 23-year-olds. Like you could really like make them click about, oh no, I could go down this area, but I could go down this way. You have a personality that's kind of inspiring, I guess would be the word.
Oh, thank you for that.
Yeah.
And that's a group that I don't see that much, honestly. Like I've talked to some high schools. I've been to Paragon before and talked to some of those kids. But yeah, I don't have access to that group of, like you said, that age group. Our fire department used to have an Explorer program that was high school age kids, and they would come in and get to do all the fire. They did all the same training that we did, and we just don't do that anymore. And that's something that I like to see come back. But I'm working with that elementary to middle school age right now.
Yeah, I could see you doing like a TED style talk at like CSUP. Just kind of
that'd be fun.
Like a motivational. You are like your worst enemy, but your greatest asset type of conversation.
Yeah, and seeing the bright side of things.
Mm-hmm. I like that. All right, what about the Pueblo Has Talent show? I want to get to the 3 freaking dance troupes that won. That is kind of bullshit.
You think?
3 dance troupes, bro? So, you can't decide the number 1 dance troupe and then give you a singer and a.
I think what happened was Colorado Springs came down. That team that took 3rd was from Colorado Springs.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think they came down and they raised the bar. And then Pueblo stepped up. And I think when you were judging as a judge, that Springs team was phenomenal. Then the Pueblo team stepped up and did a better job. So now you got to score them better than this group. Then South Pack did a better job. Now you got to score them better than this group. And all of a sudden, everybody else who wasn't in a category kind of falls off, right? And there's a part of that voting and scoring that goes to the crowd too. If you bring a 30-person dance troupe,
Yeah, you got two.
each one of those people brings 3 people.
Yeah.
We got 90 extra votes. You know what I mean? And so if you're just an individual up there singing, you don't have the same vote tally that everyone else has. And we try to, I know that Jesse sets it up to be as fair as possible, and it is what it is. You have to sell tickets, in order to have that beautiful venue for 2 weeks, and to pay the prizes. There's $8,000 in prize money every year, and so you got to sell the tickets. In order to sell tickets, you got to let them have a vote, and I think it makes a difference, right? Because, gosh, South Pack was how many kids this year? 8 kids, I think, something like that.
But the whole place was cheering for him, from left to right, down in front and down in the back. Like every single person was cheering for him.
Yep, Second String Dance Company did good, and what I thought was cool this year, it kind of they did a good job of getting those votes calculated and up to us in a hurry.
Yeah.
But people waited till the end to turn in their tickets. Their ticket was their vote for whoever they wanted to win. And normally, I always thought, like, if I'm there to see contestant number 13, I'm just going to write 13 on that ticket, drop it in the bucket when I walk in there, and then that's going to be it. But
True.
A lot of those people waited till the very end, and I hope that they voted for the person that they thought was
the best, not just
the best. Yeah,
brought them
not
there.
just the person that they came to see.
Yeah.
And we had that place full. That whole down was full, man. And so, 3 dance group is different, though. I'd never seen that before. Not in my time at all.
I know. I mean, like, an honorable mention in my head, that the opera singer was phenomenal, man. She just didn't have the crowd or the stage presence. She just kind of was a little bit quiet and to herself too much.
In that one spot.
Yeah, she should have hit him with the.
Yeah, her voice though. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Man, that's the best. Like the biggest voice I've ever heard in person. Like and I don't get to watch most of the time. Like I'm doing stuff backstage. I'm dealing with the people that are about to come up. They can't find their music or they're trying to give me their card. And so I very rarely get to see what happens on that stage. But when that girl started hitting those notes, like I had to stop and watch because that was something like I said, I've never heard anybody with the voice that big in person. That's pretty incredible. She didn't need a microphone.
Yeah, honestly.
No, and I think I even said it when she was done. Like her voice was the reason that people build buildings like that. Was for performers like her. And that's pretty incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, but truly just the thought of the 3 dance troops I was like, wow. It's basically just as a joke, it told a message like, oh, if you want to win Pueblo's Got Talent next in 2024, just be a dance group.
You never know what the judges are looking for, though. Well, I guess it was South Pack. We had the aerial list.
Which were great. The aerial lists.
The aerial lists are good. And there's more and more of them, so now they're starting to split the vote, right? Like when there's only one aerial list and your whole gym's coming out to vote for you.
That's true.
Is one thing. When you bring in 3 aerialists or 2 or however many we had, now you're splitting those votes too, And so I don't know if there's strategy to that or just wanting to get up there and perform, but Jesse does a good job of bringing those people back for other things. Like those singers may not have won that day, but they'll be back. They'll be performing for other local events. They'll be on the Coke stage or the Pepsi stage or whatever it is at the Colorado State Fair. That Pueblo Has Talent Top 25 usually performs there too. And so it's not the end of the road for these folks. And they're doing open mic nights. Rick G's doing open mic nights. Molly Bilker and Andrew Vandegrift are doing open mic nights. Xenon and Morgan are out there doing open mic nights. And so we get the opportunity to go out and see them too in the community. And then, like for me, to get to watch them on that stage, man, there's no cooler feeling than to watch them folks walk out there and they get to look out on that crowd and see that crowd that's there for them is pretty special to me.
One of my favorite parts was that little girl mariachi singer. She's so cute, man. And then last year she was like a little bit younger, and then like this year she's like just a few inches taller.
A little bit more,
yeah.
A whole lot more personality though.
Yeah,
and they were like hiding her. They told me when they first got there, they know how to perform that group. So they used to be a dance group, and then COVID hit, and they didn't have enough room at their house to dance.
Oh wow!
And so they were like, well, let's just learn how to play instruments.
Oh wow!
So they went from being like a folklorico dance group to mariachis over COVID, and they've been in that top 25 every year. And that little girl just keeps getting better and better. Like, she was in Denver or Cripple Creek or something like that last weekend performing, and then she's here just being a little monster, man, a little performer and an entertainer, and she's gonna be something special because she's got personality.
Honestly, beautiful voice too,
Mm-hmm.
man. But yeah, I was just those two acts alone. I was surprised, like wow, like just like the optics. I understand the judging is non-biased. Those three groups did the best with the numbers provided. Like the tens, they got tens or whatever the scaling was. But just the optics of the three dance groups just
I know
boggled me, and the rest of the crowd. A lot of people around me were like, "What?"
Even when I got the results, like I looked at them 3 times. I was like, I looked at her, I looked back at them, and I looked again. I was like, that's right. And like I said, I have nothing to do with how that's judged. I don't know who wins until I'm standing up there too at the very, very end. And so it's different, and like I said, and then we'll see what happens next year. If we end up with 25 dance groups in the top 25,
might as well name it. Like, what's that show? America's Next.
We already have Dancing with the Pueblo Stars.
Oh, yeah,
I do that in July.
How do you become a part of that? How do you get involved in Pueblo's
Dancing with the Pueblo Stars is usually an invitation. So they'll invite people who are relevant at the time to the community. So people that are like business owners or some politicians. We always try to have like a firefighter and a police officer in there.
I saw Matt Smith and Jenny in there.
Yeah, Matt and Jenny are in there, always relevant in the community. And so that's kind of like an invite thing. Some people start reaching out to me, or Terry Weldon puts it on at PDI. They start reaching out like that night. You know what I mean? Like they're ready for next year.
Oh, wow.
And so we normally try to keep about 15, hoping that, people are going to drop out. I know that the year that I did it, some people dropped out. And it's just hard. Like I danced for 4 months to be able to go up there and actually be kind of proficient. And so not everybody's a dancer.
Yeah, no, I couldn't dance probably. Yeah. No way.
Yeah, it was, but it was kind of fun though. I got to go to R&R dance studio twice a week and, stretch and dance and kind of live that life for a little bit. And so it was fun, and people have fun. And like I say, if you want to do that, reach out to Terry for next year and at PDI, and she'll try to get you on the list. And like I said, and then it just goes with who they think it's a fundraiser, who they think is going to raise the most money, right?
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah. So we raised almost $100,000 last year for PDI.
Oh, wow. That's insane.
Yeah. It was a little bit above our goal for sure. And like I say, that part of the responsibility for me to try to help raise money for an organization like that that's doing such wonderful things with our adults with developmental disabilities is pretty special. So I'm really excited to be a part of that again this year.
Yeah. I would love to go watch all of these. I think the thing that kind of hurts Pueblo's like growing art scene, because you said there's a lot of young people doing their thing. The marketing, no one is like, it's hard to, if you're not involved already in the circle, it's hard to like hear the word outside of the circle. It's I don't know.
It's hard to be in every circle.
That's
like
true.
I think I'm in the circle, and then I go on Facebook right Saturday morning. Like, oh shoot, how'd I miss that dinner? Oh, where was that dinner? Oh, I wanted to go to that. It's hard to stay in all of those circles, but 100%, like you said, marketing, social media, understanding the importance of its presence. Pueblo Has Talent is starting to come around to that too. Like, we're not the youngest cats running this thing, you know what I mean? And we don't have that huge social media presence. And so
I'm saying it right now. I want to do Pueblo Has Talent marketing for 2024.
there you go, Jesse Senna, give him a call.
We'll do it. We'll do it right. We'll get every single Pueblo-based musician that doesn't have the platform, that doesn't have the opportunity to maybe even be driven there. Because there's a lot of musicians that just don't even have a mic, but they have the skill. And we've talked to a lot of them here.
Yeah. I mean, even this week, like that, one of them kids went up and sang a cappella. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty incredible. And that's some talent, man. Like, I could sing in the car, but you turn the radio off and it's going to get ugly quick.
Yeah, and then the crowd started clapping. I was like, that's not how the song goes.
Yeah, I think they were trying to get the beat for him or something.
Like that's okay, but I see it, but.
Yeah, no, I felt that too, because he was the last one, so I got to watch him go because I didn't have anything after him. And yeah, when they started clapping, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, oh, one, don't wash him out. because don't get louder than him, because he's got there ain't no music or nothing else to help him. But he did good, and that's got to be hard to put your name in there and then just show up there and sing.
Totally.
So, but he did a good job. That young kid with the piano was pretty amazing too.
I spoke to him after the show. I told him, go home tonight, make an Instagram, put videos on Instagram.
Yeah,
that's all he has to do.
Like you said, it's understanding the marketing side of it. You know, like I talked to my daughter. Like some of the stuff that she's doing is absolutely incredible. Editing video and going out and do stuff. They're bringing like Waka Flocka here. And,
oh, really?
Yeah, like they're just the ability to get out and reach the community, like you said. How do we do it? You know what I mean? How many Pueblo community pages are there? Mm-hmm. You know, how many Pueblo yard sale pages are there? They don't all come together. And even in our, like the nonprofit world, like I do a lot of advocacy with youth and in the community. And even when we get together, you know, these are professionals with degrees and grant funding. And it's hard to make sure that all of that information stays relevant, that all of that information stays up to date, that there's one central place for it all. You know, we could say that that's Facebook, but then you get on Facebook and you still miss everything. You know, I'll run through that events page every once in a while just to see what's going on. Yeah. And that's a pretty good resource, but it's hard to be in all them circles at one time, you know?
You're right. You're right. And that's what we're going to do. Do you have any advice to young people that maybe look up to you or maybe want to be where you're at or kind of just want to be a better or beacon in the community?
I think the most important thing is like to start to build compassion, you know, like, and this is what I say to everyone. Like, if you want to change the world, like start in your home, right? Bring love into your home and then extend that out to the people on your block. We don't even know our neighbors anymore. You know, start to meet your neighbors, start to help them out. There's people on your block that need their snow shoveled or whatever. If you still have energy after that, expand it out to your community. Do a community project, right? A park cleanup or do some signage. If you still have energy after that, like you're doing, go after your city as a whole. Sit on city council. Go for that county commissioner slot. Sit on some boards and commissions. Understand, like I hate to keep going back to it, but like the bureaucracy of it. We don't just get what we want because we want it, especially when it comes to government. But as a kid, being able to communicate, being compassionate, being loving, listening. People older than you have tons and tons of advice. You just have to listen to it and accept it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where a lot of younger people kind of get it messed up. But we kind of have a shorter attention span, you know, and these long-winded conversations kind of get overlooked sometimes. But I've learned so much from this alone.
Yeah, and that we all got something to share, right? I learned something from you. Like we could always increase our presence, our marketing, our availability, you know, listening more too, because I might be the exception because I still want to be young. So I listen more to the youth and I appreciate every part of it, man. I used to joke all the time. Like I love seeing hipsters in our town because the coffee got better, the art got better, the music got better, right? I could go sit on a patio now and listen to somebody play music, even on the Riverwalk for free. Somebody out there playing a saxophone.
Oh yeah.
That's amazing to me. That's big city stuff that I never thought we would see here. And so I'm excited about it all. And like the presence, if you're a kid coming up and you want to do good things, like you have to start being a good person, you know? And if you've done bad things in the past, like people will overlook that. You know, if you can change, you could change how you're perceived. And even when I do events and people are nervous, I tell them all the time, like, you're going to go up there, you're going to stumble, you're going to stutter, you might trip a little bit, but you know what? The next person that comes after you is going to do the same thing. And they're going to take that focus from you to them, to the next person, to the next person, to the next person. And by the time you leave, people are only going to keep the parts that they want to keep, right? So go out, do your thing, do it to the best of your ability, stumble, fall, get back up and succeed. And so even when I work with kids in the community, I don't even educate the kids as much as I do the parents and teachers anymore. Let your kid fail. Mm-hmm. Then watch them succeed and see the different look in their face. You know, I work with teachers all the time and they're like, oh, my babies can't be carrying anything heavy. It's too heavy for them. No, stop. Let them try. Let them fail. And then watch them figure it out and look at the happiness on their face when they succeed, right? And so we have to go out there. We have to fail because we have to know what it feels like. We have to work bad jobs because we have to know what it feels like. You appreciate it more. You know, I appreciate my job now because I've had some of the worst jobs you could ever imagine. Anyone who's carried drywall or roofing for a living knows that that's a tough job. You know, been dirty, been cold, construction, those things, like, those are hard jobs. They're tough, and you got to work them. Somebody's got to do them, you know? But then to get to do what I do now, I'm so much more appreciative of what I get to do now, because I know what other people are going through, you know? And people say all the time, like, your job's hard, or it's dangerous. I wouldn't want to be a garbage man in this community, or someone who works on the highway. Like, to me, those guys' jobs are dangerous because nobody's paying attention. You know, those folks' jobs are way more dangerous than mine. I should pull up in a fire truck with $10,000 worth of lights. You know, these poor folks are out there just trying to survive to make a living. And so I'm way more appreciative of what I get to do and where I'm at. And anyone that wants to come up, just start looking at the bright side of things and focusing on the good, and making that positive change, like I say, in your house where you're at.
Yeah. That's beautiful, man. I love that. And thank you so much for coming. I appreciate all your time and all your wisdom that you just shared with everyone. I would love to have you back with more people here, so more people can pick your brain about stuff, because, you know, we were here for an hour, and I feel like we could easily.
I didn't think we'd fill an hour, dude. I was gonna text you and be like, I don't know if I got that much to say.
Oh no, we could easily go for like two and a half. I feel like.
Yeah, I imagine that. It's a good conversation, you know, and it's on the right side of where we need to be.
Great conversation. Do you want to tell the people where to follow you, where they can keep up with you and stuff?
So you can follow our Facebook page. Pueblo Has Talent. Dancing with the Pueblo Stars is coming up. 40 Under 40. That's through the Latino Chamber. And then, like we said, just follow those event pages and start to support the people that support the community, right? Get out and go to open mic nights. Do all of those things, because this is the talent that's going to be making a difference in our community.
All right, guys. Sorry. Tim Trujillo, Street Champs. Come get put on. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that. All right. Peace.
Thank you.
What's up, guys? We just hit 1,500 subs. We're trying to make it 2,000. Help us out and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.